Dan here, Max SPL Videos. We're recording, right? Yes, we are. Today we're going to look at the PTU7000 from Phenyx Pro. Okay, thank you Phenyx Pro for sponsoring this video. They have not told me what to say about this guy. Just, I said, hey, can I do a video on that? And they said, yes. And now I've got a sponsored video. So, product supplied is, I believe, the YouTube term for that. The only request they had from me is that I talk about how I got it through Aliexpress and kind of give my feedback on that. So, other than that, everything is my unbridled opinion. So, good on them for... I didn't even have to sign a contract. It's just, hey, we'd like you to do this. So, cool. Comes in a nice retail box that I just threw away there. I hope Phenyx Pro is planning on having brick and mortar stores like mine carry their product eventually, because that box actually looks real good and the product's really good. So I'd stock it in a heartbeat. Let's get into what comes in that box. So when you open it up, first thing you're going to see, receiver. Awesome. Now, on that layer as well, you will find the removable antennae. Once you get onto that second layer, we've got our 4 transmitters / microphones here, and a couple of other accessories. We've got the external power supply. We'll get to that. We've got a 1/4-inch cable. Now, thankfully, this does have XLR outs as well, which is my preference. And then we got these guys. One of mine fell behind my desk earlier. Cool. We'll get to these in a bit. So, let's get to the review side of things rather than just what comes in the box. So, the first things first, our receiver. Now, it is rack mountable. It also has feet on the bottom, which I'm glad to see both. I've had some rack units in the past where you kind of have to use them in the rack, or you're just gonna put it on a table and the ears are just gonna tear your table apart. So it is nice to see the rubber feet. If you are rack mounting it, take the couple screws off the side. These are incredibly easy to remove. Doesn't void your warranty or anything getting in there and taking those out. So easy enough, and then you can rack mount it without the feet on the bottom. So that is handy that they thought of both use cases. This is the 4-channel variant, so they do make a 2-channel. Your mileage may vary. I wanted at least 3 mics, so having 3 plus a backup was perfect for me. But I know there's a lot of people out there. Look, I'm not going to be rack mounting it. I'm only going to need 2 mics. There's a 2-channel one that takes up less space. Great option. This is the adjustable unit. I would spend the extra bucks and get an adjustable one of these guys. Every time I hear about somebody getting a unadjustable version, they start running into weird issues, but only at, when I go to most venues, it's fine, but I go to that one and I always have these problems. Well, then that means they probably have a wireless system in the room next door to you and it's interfering or something like that. So being able to adjust it and just make sure those problems don't happen is worth the money. And on top of that, now I'm not going to talk too much about price on this because those are always subject to change. There will be some links down below, both to Phenyx Pro's website and to their Aliexpress store. It is an affiliate link for the Aliexpress store, so let's just disclose that. But if you want to get one of these and you want to support the channel, follow that. More on that later. But yeah, definitely if you can spare the extra couple bucks, I would recommend just going for the adjustable. It solves a bunch of problems and prevents other problems from happening. So those are the 2 ways I like to handle issues. Moving to the back. So removable antennae. That is my preference. Yes, it does mean you have parts you can lose, but I'd rather have a removable standardized part. Because these are standardized, you can also get extenders. So if you do want to rack mount this, but you want to put your either, say, on the front of your rack, have the antenna, or I've seen some DJs that have, those really fancy tables and they're customing them and all that, and they want their antennas popping out the sides so that they're, a little more out of the way and stuff. these should work just fine for that. It has the mixed out 1/4 inch. I'm not a big fan of that, except I realize that's not for me. That's for you got a karaoke machine, home stereo, that type of thing. It's kind of necessary to put on products in this of of this ilk. But 1/4 inch aside, we've got 4 XLRs for people like myself, so I can plug this into a mixer board. Now, if you are using that balanced XLR out option, you would probably on the front gain adjustments here set all of these to kind of where you want, all universal, and then adjust the gain on the mixer itself unless you're peaking out at this level. So having those up here is handy for that. That being said, if you're using that 1/4 inch, having adjustable gain on each mic becomes even more important, because now you only have one volume on your at your disposal on your other hardware. Also handy for if you're a DJ and your mixer self-destructs and you have to plug this then into your DJ controller or something like that, right? It is nice to have, but XLR is how I've been using this and how I recommend you do as well. Now, controversial subject, external power supplies. I used to hate these, and then I actually read up on why they're becoming more and more prevalent. If you want inexpensive gear, it's going to have external power supplies. It adds a lot to the cost of an audio product to have the power supply internal. It's not just a case of, oh, put this little box inside the unit. That's going to create a bunch of extra interference and noise that they want to avoid. So they do it externally. It sucks. I'd rather have IEC, but if it, either lowers my noise floor or drops my cost, acceptable. Yeah, that is honestly my only gripe with this entire system, is that it's an external power supply. But at the same time, I get it, so I can't, judge them too harshly for that. But yeah, that is the receiver. Let's talk about the transmitters / microphones. So, to start, these sound great. That's the biggest thing when it comes to a microphone, is does it sound good? And they do. So from a microphone standpoint, I'd still take a wired over them for a singer if I could. But if I'm in a situation where either someone's requested wireless, or if wireless is just a necessity, I've got these now, and that really helps. Compared to some of the cheap plasticky wireless mics out there, the build quality on these is great. Now, they are metal chassis across the side here for the handle. They do have a plastic cap on the bottom. It's likely for the transmitter. Dismantling these, we've got our pocket for AA's. I don't have any in this one at the moment. I have in one of them. I can't remember which one. But that's where you'd put those. Got our cap here. Now, something else I noticed comparing it to those cheap mics. Although the cap can... I can put this cap on my cheap mics. The foam inside is actually better quality. I wasn't expecting that. Normally, when you have something like this, they probably bought from a third-party manufacturer, because universal parts, and then save yourself, that. Normally, you'd expect them all to be of the same quality. But, yeah, no, these are actually a little bit better than those. And then this is something I really, really like. And this shows me some foresight in terms of repairability. The diaphragm and the transmitter can be disassembled wirelessly. They used some pin connectors in here. And then they contact here, which I probably shouldn't touch that too much. You don't want to, cause any extra oxidation. Too late. Yeah, that's awesome, because then, hey, my transmitter's acting up. You can replace this part. Hey, the diaphragm's toast. You can replace this part. I really like that kind of foresight, versus a lot of times, and this isn't a knock, especially against wired microphones that make this call, but a lot of microphones out there, You know, the diaphragm is wired into the body, so if you ever have to get in there and replace anything, you've got to get the soldering iron out. So it is kind of nice to have that, and it's just not something I expected to see on a product in this price range. Awesome. Cool. Yeah, so they've got an IR receiver there. So when you adjust your frequency on here, you can hit set, I believe it is, and then it'll send a little IR blast out. It'll pick it up and then change the setting on the mic. Now, here's where you get into some of the big advantages of that outside of just preventing interference and stuff. If I break this microphone, if I lose this microphone, if this microphone dies on me for whatever reason outside of its warranty period, I don't have to memorize the exact frequency that it has. This can change frequencies. So I just buy another mic. If I, say, have 2 of this unit and I've got 8 of these microphones and I accidentally send the wrong one out with the wrong unit, it's not a paperweight. Now they just hit that button, they hit it here, and now this works with this unit. So a lot of positives on these for being adjustable. Awesome. So yeah, that's the mics. That's the receiver. Again, the only gripe I have with like the entire system is the external power supply. It did come with these guys. I'm just going to do a quick note on these because I like these. I didn't think I would. I was like, well, they look a little gimmicky. They look a little stupid. So you put these on the mics, and I mean, you can bring them all the way up to the top. You probably want them about there so they don't get in the way, but then, you know, wedding photos, right? I wouldn't have this on an Efficience microphone. It looks kind of just a little weird. But if I'm doing a karaoke thing or if I'm doing a corporate event where they're setting these on a table rather than putting them back into a mic stand, doesn't roll anymore. So not only can you use these to color code your microphones, so it's like, okay, so I know that, you know, blue is 2, that kind of thing. I can make sure that my mics don't roll onto the floor, or at least severely reduce the chances of that. But yeah, so like I said, I would give this entire unit, like in a numeric standpoint, like a 9 out of 10, because they knocked it out of the park. For the price of a 1-channel unit from some of the top name brands out there, you get 4 mics, almost all metal construction, other than the plastic cap. But again, I think that is, I think that's for transmission purposes, and I think, you know, I'm willing to have a plastic cap on the bottom of my mic if it means better signal. Rack mountable unit. Like other than an external power supply, for the money, this thing is ridiculous. Let's talk about how to get these, which is an important step when it comes to buying microphones. If you happen to live in the United States, just go to the Phenyx Pro website, right? Link will be down below. Click on through and find what they have to offer. That's going to be your best bet. Skip the third-party stuff if you can. Just support them directly. All the cash goes to them versus another site. Awesome. Now, if you live outside of the US and you want to save yourself a bit of money, I'd recommend their Aliexpress store, which I believe is Phenyx Pro Official Store. If you order through Aliexpress, do be aware it is going to be a little bit slower getting it than going to, you know, a local store and just walking out with it, right? Expect, like when I ordered this one, for example, it took about a month. Now, about 3 weeks of that was it getting stuck somewhere because I ordered it during a tumultuous time in, you know, the geopolitical sphere. So you probably could, depending on where you are, you probably will get it a little bit quicker than I did. But be aware, if you need it by the weekend, they might have options to ship it a little bit quicker and stuff like that. But just be aware, AliExpress, generally, part of what you're saving is cheap shipping because it's going to take a little bit longer. The good news, though, is not only will you get it for a good price, you'll probably end up saving a bit on your import taxes. At least here in Canada, if I buy something that was imported into the US and then I import it from the US to Canada, there are extra fees involved through that chain versus getting something direct from China and direct from these guys. So that's how I would recommend ordering it here. for, you know, non-American countries. Yeah, so that is the Phenyx Pro PTU7000. Again, I cannot recommend this enough. They did not tell me to tell you that. They just said, give us your thoughts, mention the Aliexpress store. That was the contract. And by that, I mean the email where they said, hey, could you do this for us? And good on them for, you know, supporting a small channel like mine and not, you know, there was no paper to sign saying I was going to say this or that. And there was no stipulation on how soon I had to have a video out. It was just really good to see, like, yeah, sure, we'll help out a small channel. We'll help get you going. So thanks again to them. It helps that they have a product that comes so highly recommended already that I, you know, wasn't expecting to have too much negative to say. Like, subscribe, all that stuff. Got more videos coming. Got some new gear. Got some new thoughts. So, you all have a good day.